Hi everyone, it's Lexi here with your Two Peas in a Bucket Project Life video for this Saturday. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started here. You can see that I already have some journaling typed up. It just was going to save some time for editing purposes, but also just for planning purposes, knowing where things were going to go. I just went ahead and picked out some papers and trimmed them the right size, and a few of the insert cards here I just went ahead and journaled. So I had this, the This Week card below. I had that cut out with my Cameo and I sewed it down. And because of the orientation of my insert, I wasn't going to be able to use it the right side up, I guess you would say. So I'm just going to trim this portion off that I want and use that part. So this little bottom card is going to be kind of like my summary, I guess you would say, of the week. I just have a few sentences typed up about a few of the pictures, and I'm going to put this week, and then I'm going to use those really cool Amy Tangerine stamps and stamp my week 10. So I'm a little bit behind on Project Life, but I am not going to let it discourage me. So I'm working with week 10 here, and I'm going to take some washi tape, which I'm sure you're not surprised that I'm using, and I'm going to place it down here. I really liked this navy with the colors in this card because it's a little bit kind of bold and dark. But my problem, you'll see, is once I stamp the 10, you can't really see the 10 very well. But again, I'm not going to let that stress me out or bother me, but I'm going to stamp that right there. So maybe I should have used a lighter colored washi tape behind it, but I'm just going to be okay with that. I'm using Stays On ink. I've been using these stamps in combination with the Stays On ink quite a bit on photos and anytime you want to stamp on a slick surface like washi tape to make sure that it'll dry well and stay on and not smear. And you can see, you can't really see it. You can see it better in person, but it's not like a great standout thing. So note to self. I'm going to use a couple of staples here. I tend to use staples in quantities of 2 at a time. There's no reason for that. I do not know why. But I'm going to put that ink away before I get it all over my insert here. Whoops, flying stamps. Okay. So that one is done. Like I said, it's just kind of my recap card for the week here. So on this one, I went ahead and added some journaling. The journaling on this card is going to coincide with the photo that's going to go to the right of it. So that's why I had some leftover die cut pieces from my Cameo, and this one happened to be arrows. So it helps to kind of point to what that journaling has to do. I'm going to use a mask on my Project Life, and that is my challenge for you this week, is to incorporate a mask into your Project Life album. It's usually one of those things that's an extra step, kind of, so I don't do it. But what I've decided is that I do not have to use spray ink for your masks because you don't. So I'm just going to use a stamp pad here. So I'm going to use this really cool triangle mask from Studio Calico with these little Prima inks and kind of stamp down and rub down a little bit, and it's just going to add some design to that background. Rubbing the ink here, make sure I get them all filled in. It won't be perfect, but it's not ever perfect when I use spray ink either. So I'm just going to take that away and pick that up, and that's how it's going to look like. And I'm going to use a baby wipe to get that off my desk. So I'm going to put this little triangle die cut here, and this little snapshot die cut is from, or a little tag is from Chick Tags that Two Peas carries now. So I'm going to use that on there as well. Added a little bit of washi tape to the side. Let's see if I could get away with not using washi tape on every single section here of my insert, but I doubt it. I'm going to add a couple little staples here. You can see I kind of wrinkled up that tag a little bit. I don't know, I kind of like giving you the little dimension, if you will, even though it's going to be flat in a page protector. So that'll be that insert. I'm just gonna slide it in, and that one is done. This little card here, my oldest son drew this rooster, and I thought it was so cute and tiny, and I appreciate that he loves to draw, and they both do, and leave little things for me. So I wanted to incorporate that. I think a good thing about Project Life, well, there's lots of good things, but one of the good things that I have noticed is the things that I take pictures of, and also the things that I don't take pictures of, because this week I didn't have a lot of photos of my older son. He's usually doing his own thing, or he might be at school. So I have more pictures of my younger guy because we're around each other more. So that is helpful for me to know that I need to make an effort to take pictures of him and not just incorporate his artwork, which I love to do. You can see my planner down there below, so I'm just kind of getting the date of when he gave this to me. That's my planner just for Project Life. I write down little notes and things, so when I go to work on a spread for the week, I have kind of an idea of the dates that things happened. And I don't want that arrow, so I'm just going to turn it to a spot where it doesn't have any ink. I'm going to stamp down the date, and I didn't do a very good job because I didn't even stamp down that it was March. It didn't go on there, but it's going to be fine. So I went ahead and typed Rooster by Avon, and I'm going to slide that in here. And on all of these little spreads, I'm going to add save my sewing. I sew on all of them. It's a little extra step, but it's something I've always done. So I get all of my spreads complete, and then I just make one trip over to the sewing machine and sew everything down. So I typed my journaling here. This was another little note that my oldest son had left for me. It says, "I love you," and of course I wanted to put that in there. He drew it on the back of a receipt, which is kind of funny. But I'm going to end up switching this to the left side, so the journaling comes on the left side instead of the right side. The two kind of cards below it have things on the right side, so I thought it was good to switch it over to the left. And now I just have to make sure that I rearrange this in a way that is not, I know I'm going to have to end up trimming it, but I just don't want to trim off any of the little journaling. It looks like I'm going to. I'm going to slide this up a little bit. And there we go. And then put this here. And, well, surprise, surprise, more washi tape. I'm going to use, this is from My Mind's Eye. It has this kind of a light blue with little stars on it. So I'm going to use that right here. The washi tape that is marking my spot for video, as you can see, kind of where I know to stay in lines for video, is also My Mind's Eye. They have some really cool tapes out. I'm just going to trim this up here and then stick down my little note. There we go. Okay. I might have to end up trimming that a little bit on the bottom as well. So I'm rearranging that so I don't have to cut off any of his artwork he worked so hard on. So I have that down. These are kind of like enamel dots. These are from Basic Gray. So I'm going to use a couple of those. And I don't know why really I chose green. I just wanted to add a little bit of green. On the card below it, the rooster has some green in it, so I thought that that would work good. And then also on that same row, the very bottom card, one of the little diamond shapes has some green in it. So you can just barely see it there. So I went ahead and added the little bit of green at the top. This photo right here is of my little guy, and he was really proud of those red shoes. So I knew I had already used the other middle inserts for typing journaling about different things. So I went ahead and typed my journaling here on the photo before I printed it off. And I wanted to highlight the fact that he got some red shoes that he wanted so much. And I didn't have any red mini stickers, so I took the white ones here from Jelly Bean Soup and I made them red just with ink that I had. So I'm going to add, I've already got the word red, so I'm going to not use the capital ones and use the lowercase ones instead. And spell out shoes here on my thumb. Whoops. get all those on there. And the one thing about when you color these letters with your ink is just to make sure that they dry really well before you try to, put it in a page protector or whatever. So I've got the word choose, and I'm going to place them on my photo. I'm going to spell it backwards here and start on the right side. I hate in the past when I've started spelling it from the left side the right way, and then I've ended up not having enough room on my photo or layout or whatever. So I've learned to start going backwards, and you can see it's not totally dry. So I missed a little spot here on my H. So I'm going to go back and hit that. And he's got his red shoes. So that's in between a couple sentences. This was also the day of his kindergarten screening. So that is why I use this paper from the background. It's from Basic Gray, and I want to make sure I put it down, the photo down, so you can still see the ABC behind it. And you can see I didn't quite get it right, and my paper ripped a little bit, but it's not going to be showing anyway, so it's not going to matter. So I got it down enough that you can still see the ABC below it. I'm going to take this little tag that says, I think it says, "This is awesome." And yeah, and so I'm going to cut the little triangle out. Because I already did my journaling, I didn't really need that blank space to write anything. So I'm going to put it to the side here and staple it down. These are really cool. They're like vellum stickers from the hipster line from Basic Gray. And I'm going to use those here with this on the top. We're going to just staple this down, and the little red vellum circles at the top, I don't know why, but I just wanted to use them. There's no great reason, but also the red at the bottom, and those are red stickers, so it kind of goes together, kind of ties it in. I'm going to go at the top here and see if I can't stamp a date that actually shows better. So part of that stamp also says "Enjoy today," so I'm just going to stamp that in some of the white space at the top of that photo. And again, I'm using that Stays On ink so it won't smear. The problem now is that I have stamped, and instead of saying that this happened March 5th, it just says March 0. So I'm not really on a roll with the whole stamping the date this time, but I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to move on. I have this, these are some fancy pants, little mini tags, which I love to add to layer and to stamp and type on. So I'm going to choose which one I want to use with this photo of my little indoor skateboarder. And I have this really cool stamp from Evalicious. She's bringing out some cool stamps, well, and has been for a while, but really like this "This is Rad" one. So I'm going to use that. We say that in our house a lot, and I thought it went good with the skateboarding photo. So I'm just trying to decide where I want to put that. And I'm going to have the tag kind of hanging off the photo. So I need to make sure that I don't stamp it in a way that I end up cutting off part of what I stamped. I was trying to decide if I wanted to use gray on gray, but I've stamped everything else in black. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the black ink here. I'm going to stamp that down. We have a variety this week. We have red shoes, rooster, skateboarding. It was a fun week. So I'm going to use that there. And then, I don't know, have I even made one of these inserts without washi tape? I guess the red shoe one I didn't use any. I'm going to use a little bit of washi tape. When I print off this photo, I printed it in such a way that there was more white space at the top, so I could have trimmed that off, but I'm just going to play around with it. And I love these letter stickers. They remind me of cutting out letters for magazines. I don't know if you ever did that, but I remember doing that in middle school and high school, doing a little journal. So that's what this reminds me of. So I'm going to use these stickers from Basic Gray and put "Dude" across the bottom. He was really quiet this day, and usually, as you probably know, when your kiddos are quiet, they might be doing something they're not supposed to be doing or making a mess, but it just happened to be that he was trying to work on his skateboarding skills, so I thought that was pretty cool. And I walked by his room and snuck this picture of him from his doorway. I'm gonna stick that tag there. And you can see I put the adhesive on the back of the tag and then I just kind of wrapped the string around it. So sometimes I take the string out and sometimes I just wrap the string back behind it. And again, I'm gonna use some of the red of these vellum stickers and trim that off there. I'm gonna put this to the side and then trim it as well. I don't know why, I just kind of like when the tags go off the edge. There isn't any real reason for that. But I have this done. I did go ahead and trim the bottom and add some plaid paper behind it. So up at the top here, I went ahead and added some things I think I might want to use. This picture, it's a huge bummer. We've had a rough winter of sickness and my little guy has some breathing issues, and I didn't want to, elaborate, I guess, a lot on it, but it is part of our life right now, and so I wanted to include it in Project Life. So I went ahead and printed off my picture to add, and on the little tag at the top, there's a couple more chick tags. One, I went ahead and typed "sew over" this because we really are so over giving breathing treatments all the time. It can be so much worse, and I'm so thankful it's not. But we are kind of ready for being able to breathe easy. So I'm going to put the "we are here" at the top of the photo, just kind of because that's where we are right now. And I'm going to put the "sew over" this tag at the bottom, and then I'll just add some sewing to it when I take it over in just a minute. Behind it is actually, it's not paper, the blue and the white, it's from Studio Calco. It's one of the dividers to go in the handbooks. I'd already trimmed off some of it to use on another project, so I just decided to go ahead and use the rest. I'm going to add some of these little dots here from Basic Gray at the top. It's kind of evening them up a little bit. So that side's done. This side right here, I'm going to use the die cut from Dear Lizzie, and there was so much browns and yellows going on in the photo, I didn't want to use the brown side of it, so I'm just going to flip it over and use the white side. And then it has the polka dot paper showing through. And this photo was, we had just planted a Venus flytrap, and when I asked him what he was doing, he said he was watching it grow. So I'm going to incorporate that. I did my little journaling on the tag here, and again I'm just going to flip it around and stick the string behind it, and I'm going to do it a little offside. I wasn't planning this, but each corner, the upper left here and then the lower right, has a tag that's kind of off center a little bit. It's a little balanced that way, but like I said, it wasn't planned. I'm going to use this tape from Bella Boulevard, and I like that it is a little skinnier than the other tape, so it's kind of fun to play around with. And just flip that over the edge there. And then, whoops, I need to trim that up a little bit. I tore it too soon. And then I'm going to take these stamps again that I can't stop using and use my Stays on ink here and stamp the side. So it's going to go on the washi tape again and the photo as well. But you'll be able to see this one will stick out a little bit more. And then when I go to sew it, I actually sew around the word grow. And I thought this little badge was perfect to point to the word grow here. So I'm going to use that as well. So that's how it's going to end up looking before I go and sew it all down. So here I've sewed everything down. You can see I added sewing along the word dude, and then up here I did a little crazy stitching, and all around here I ended up adding the badge on top of the photo there and just adding a few things here and there with sewing. So that is how our layout ended up today. Thank you so much for joining me here at Two Peas in a Bucket with your Project Life video.